their motto used to be "Don't be evil," but they are being evil, and they're getting better and better at being evil as they find new ways to trash the First Amendment and give up on the whole free speech project, which is a big part of the good side of the American experiment. There's a lot of bad sides too, but one of the good sides is in the United States of America. Historically, most of the time, you could get away with saying pretty much what was on your mind, and the worst thing that was going to happen to you was you might get marginalized and so on. But people don't get their heads cut off very often. People don't get tortured, dragged off to prison. Like in Morocco, my wife's cousin was basically, his life was ruined because he criticized the king in a letter he mailed to Morocco from Germany. This was under Hassan II back 40 years ago. And so he went off to a torture chamber, and when he came out, he was basically a vegetable. And this is the kind of thing that happens to people in a lot of countries when they speak their minds in a way that's not approved by the state. The United States has a slightly better history in that department, a terrible history in many other departments. But now we're throwing away the one good thing, really, about this country and allowing these horrible monopolies owned by some of the most evil oligarchs ever to disgrace the human race to completely trample on free speech and ban people based on algorithms and based on all kinds of totally bogus things. They have a simple standard, which should be if it's legal, if it's not libelous and so on, if it's protected speech, as the Supreme Court says, it has to be allowed in the digital town square. But they're not allowing it, and they're censoring people like you and me, and it's a complete outrage.
Well, do you think that we're seeing more of this as the government trying to grab a hold to the storyline as the economy implodes and as America's empire teeters on collapse and more nations are challenging the empire?
Yeah, I think it's all of that. And it's all coinciding with, of course, the internet age, which came along just in time for the 9/11 truth movement back in 2001. That was right when pretty much everybody was on the internet, and it was pretty uncensored. At that time, Silicon Valley actually had a libertarian bent. So people could research 9/11, publish the results online. Only a very few cases did people get disappeared and things like that. In most cases, you could get away with it, and people did. And we exposed this outrageous secret, that they were trying to keep from us, which is that they, our own people working with Israel, blew up the Twin Towers and murdered 3,000 people in order to create a provocation to go to war in the Middle East. And so we exposed that thanks to the internet. And so that really shook the foundations of public trust in the government. The JFK assassination had done it in the 60s, and of course the Vietnam War and other outrages. But now it kind of reached the point where a huge segment of the population really doesn't know what to believe anymore. They've seen, all these videos like the stuff we do, and that's a problem for the rulers. Our rulers are oligarchs. As I said, we're an oligarchy. We're not a democracy. We're a fake democracy, but it's a real oligarchy. And as that gets exposed, it creates a potential for tremendous instability, maybe even revolution. And the oligarchs are terrified, so they're imposing the censorship.